Hey everybody, David Guido here, personal development coach, trainer, speaker, and author of the brand new book, 30 Days, What If to Powerful New Perspective. Have you ever heard the story that was told by the late, great Zig Ziglar? Just of all of the things that were awesome about Zig, his storytelling was right up there with all of the other amazing qualities and gifts and talents, characteristics, abilities that the man had. His storytelling was right up there. If you've ever heard the story of Mr. B, you know where this is going. If you haven't heard the Mr. B story, go YouTube it right now. And well, not right now. After you're done listening and watching this, then go to YouTube and find it. It's a classic story. And here's the Crib Notes version. Mr. B was a boss. He had set some rules. He broke those rules. He messed up and he was mad at himself. And he took it out on his sales manager by yelling at him unfairly. That led to a whole series of events of people being yelled at unfairly throughout the day. Started with the sales manager and worked its way on through a whole bunch of different people, where finally at the end of the day, this poor tomcat ends up being pretty much used as a soccer ball. And so how we get from A to B, you'll have to go and see the story. That's the Crib Notes version. And what's great about the story is it's a wonderful tale about attitude and having the right attitude and how to treat people and a lot of those kind of things. Also a great story about the ripple effect. And that's what we're going to talk about this week. This week we're going to talk about ripple effects. You know what a ripple effect is. If you go to your local pond or lake, or you go to the ocean or even a swimming pool, you drop something in, the ripples take off. And in a pond or a lake, you never know really where they're going to end. And our ripple effects in life can be that way too, can't they? Because there's a ripple effect to everything that we say. There's a ripple effect to everything that we do. And I'm sure that if I say to you, tell me about a time, or have you ever been in a ripple effect where somebody's words or actions, eventually the impact of that made its way to you, good or bad? Have you ever been there? I'm sure you could tell me stories. And I'm also sure that if I said to you, have you ever created a ripple effect, positive or negative, where your words or actions impacted people down the road, you'd be able to tell me about that too. And while they can be positive or negative, what we want to do is we want to create positive ripple effects that are going to impact, they're going to serve, that are going to inspire, they're going to lift people up to that next level. You know, one of the things, what's interesting is with my business is that I have this mission, this calling to create positive ripple effects. For years, I made decisions, I spoke words, I took actions. In some cases, we're talking about things that happened decades ago. And they still have a negative effect today. The ripple effect is still negative even today. In my business, I hope to have the opportunity, what I'm so excited about, is the opportunity to potentially create these lasting ripple effects that are inspiring. That's my mission. That's my purpose. That's why I do this, in order to create those kind of ripple effects that last long beyond me. And so whether or not you've been caught in a ripple effect that was negative, whether you created a ripple effect that was negative, or whether you've created positive ripple effects, or you've been involved in positive ripple effects, either way, the really cool and really fun and exciting news is that you're at a place today, right now, where you can create new ripple effects, new impacts that outlast you, that are positive for your family, for friends, for your work, your community, your city, your state, your country, on and on and on and on. You can create these incredible ripple effects. And we need to be conscious of that in order for that to happen. So how do we do that? How do we make sure we have that conscious thought process that, hey, I can leave a lasting impact at any time. I can create a a ripple effect that will positively impact, inspire, serve, and lift people well beyond anything I can see, and even maybe well beyond my years. At any moment I can do that. How do we make sure we're in that stream of conscious thought? How do we make sure of that? And that's what we're going to look at this week. We're going to look at the 3 reasons why we must harness this, because it's a gift, it's a talent, it's an ability. You have it, I have it. We all have this gift, this talent, this ability to impact people regularly, constantly, all the time, by creating ripple effects that are going to inspire, lift up, serve. So we're going to look at the 3 reasons why it's so important we harness that. And then we're going to look at 3 moves, strategies, techniques that if you employ them immediately, you're well on your way to starting to create those ripple effects that are positive. And if you're already doing it, take them to the next level. So let's look at those 3 reasons why we want to make sure that we harness that power. And number 1 is we're role models all the time. A lot of people don't want to hear that. People will say things like, I got to worry about my family. I got to worry about me, my house, right? Did I do that right? My house? I don't know what that was. But you know what I mean. So people are concerned about their situation, their life, their circumstances, and that's what they feel like they need to worry about. And that's what they feel like they're responsible for. I get that. But you're being watched at all times. And so 24/7, you're a role model to somebody. Look, if you're driving down the road and you cut somebody off and they react in a certain way and it sets you off, it changes your mood for the negative. The ripple effect of that carries on throughout the day, doesn't it? In the way you treat other people. If you're not having a great day and somebody walks by you and smiles or says something nice and changes your state of mind, what's the ripple effect? How much nicer and better do you treat people after that than you might otherwise have? When you transact business in a restaurant or in a retail store, when you're walking down the street, the way you look at people or don't look at people, the way you smile at people, the way you frown at people, the expressions that you use, and the way that you treat people when they do things that maybe they shouldn't have done. Maybe they made a mistake. Maybe they messed up. All of that has the potential, because of the ripple effect, to impact people you'll never meet in ways and far enough out that you'll never see. You are constantly being watched. And when you realize that, and when you understand that, then you realize, hey, I've got a responsibility at all times with my words and my actions to make a positive impact on everybody else, not only for that person, but for the greater good, for all of the people that will be impacted positively due to the ripple effect because I impacted that one person positively. That's number 1. Number 2, scale it back to the individual and your ability to have this instant influence. I have it, you have it, we all have it. And go back to those examples that we just used. Somebody's walking down the street and they're having a miserable day and you smile at them, you change their state immediately. And then you're able to impact the people that they run into later on. Listen, when somebody smiles at you and changes your state, you know the rest of the day the people you interact with is at a higher level, a more positive level, a better level than if that person hadn't smiled at you and changed your state, right? It's true. And so you have that ability in reverse. You have that ability to impact people. And conversely, you can take somebody who's having a great day, and because of one word you say or one action you take or one face you make or one time you ignore them when they're looking for a little bit of attention, you can bring them down off that great state, and then they impact people negatively the rest of the day. It's happened to you. People have dragged you down to their level. It's happened to me, it's happened to you, it's happened to everybody. And then the rest of the day, and maybe even beyond, a week, a month, whatever, people are impacted negatively because our state changed, because somebody had changed our state. We need to understand that we have that immediate influence. That's number 2. Number 3 is we all leave a legacy. People don't want to hear that they're role models and being watched 24/7. People don't want to hear that. They want to be, concerned about their house, right? I won't do that whole thing again. So people are concerned about that. People don't want to know. People don't want to hear that. People don't want to think, I'm not responsible for the guy out on the street. You have an impact. A lot of times people don't want to hear that they're leaving a legacy at all times. And there's two things about legacy that we need to be aware of. Number one, the legacy that you're leaving right now is shaped by a lot of things, and in large part, it started with the people who molded you, whether that was when you were a child, whether that was people that influenced you when you were in high school or college or your early adult years, probably a little bit of all of that. But you've been molded by a group, by a bunch of people, by some number of people, by some number of experiences, actions that were taken, words that were spoken. You've been molded into this person. And now that person that you've been molded into is starting to leave legacy for others. And you're molding people to leave their legacy. It's the ultimate ripple effect. You're constantly leaving a legacy. And you want it to be positive. Legacy is a ripple effect, really. And you want that legacy to be positive and inspiring and lift people up and serve people. That's number one. Number two is this legacy that we leave. A lot of times you hear people say, I want to leave a legacy. I want to leave a legacy for my children or for my children's children. That's great. And I'm all for that. But you should also be leaving, or you should also be cognizant of the fact that your legacy is well beyond that. It goes way beyond that. Whether it's positive or negative, right? Mother Teresa and Osama bin Laden both have left legacies, and not just for their children or their children's children, especially in the case of Mother Teresa, right? They've left a legacy that will last well beyond their years and well beyond their family. And you need to know that. You are going to do the same. See, there's things you're doing now that will impact and leave a legacy as part of the molding process of your children, if we use that example. And that is going to that's going to affect them, but then they're going to affect other people. The ripple effect will go well beyond your years, well beyond your comprehension, well beyond what you can understand in terms of depth, in terms of length, in terms of distance, in terms of time. We all leave a legacy, and it goes well beyond our immediate circle. So those are the three reasons that we absolutely have to harness this power to use the ripple effect to inspire and to lift up and to serve. Number one, because we're a role model at all times. 24/7, someone's watching us and somebody's impacted, and then they're going out and impacting other people based on the impact we made on them. Number one. Number two, that we have the ability to instantly change somebody's state and change those first couple of ripples in the ripple effect for the positive. And number three, that we're all going to leave a legacy. And that legacy is part of how we mold people. But also, well after we're gone, the people that we impact are going to impact other people based on our impact. And that legacy is going to go well beyond our years, well beyond our comprehension, well beyond our sight line, to places we can't even comprehend. So what are the three strategies? What are the three moves? What do we do? The first thing to harness this is we ask what might happen. We think before we act. We think before we speak. And everybody's heard that phrase before, and that's great. But I can't tell you how many times I made decisions, I took actions, I spoke words. I didn't ask who it was going to affect, in part because I didn't care, but in large part because I didn't really think it was going to impact a lot of people. I didn't think the effect would go beyond one or two people, one or two ripples. I didn't take into account that 20, 30 years after some of the decisions that I made, actions I took, words I spoke, that people would be still negatively affected, that the ripple effect would still be in play. I wish I had asked that question. I wish I had sat down and said, let me think through all the potential people that could be impacted and how far out I can see. And I wish I had journaled it. You know, you've heard me talk in these blogs before about the need to journal. It's so important to journal, to get your thoughts down on paper, to provide clarity, because as you start to write, stream of conscious takes over, and you say, you know what, if I make this decision, if I take this action, if I say these words, these people would be affected, this situation will be affected. And then you write and you go, oh yeah, and then that one, oh yeah, and then that one, oh yeah, and then that one. Stream of conscious, journal. I wish I had done that. And I wish I prayed. That's the third part of this. Ask what might happen, who might be affected. Think out as far as you can. Journal so that you think further out, and then pray on it. Now, I'm a Christian, and so praying is what I do. You don't need to do that if praying to the Christian God or to Jesus is not your thing. But you can meditate. You can pray to the God you have, to whatever spiritual being you reach out to, you rely on, you meditate on. Prayer is not a one type of thing. But when you think, when you meditate, when you pray, and you think it through, better results will always occur. And you'll make better decisions, take better actions, say better words, and create positive, inspiring, and uplifting, and service-oriented, serving others-oriented ripple effects will be created. So that's number one. Number two is understand the power in small gestures. You know, if you're walking down the street and you see somebody and you smile at them, you say hi to them, and you don't know them and you'll never see them again, you may actually save their life. And if you want to know that story, get my book, What If? 30 Days to Powerful New Perspective, because that story is in there. That true story is in there. About how a simple smile, a simple hello could have saved somebody's life. There's power in small gestures. You know, sometimes we think of legacy as this big thing that we need to do. We think of legacy, we think of ripple effect as these big, huge decisions or words or actions that we make. The smallest, tiniest things can make a huge impact on the people that are immediately affected, and then they go out and impact other people because of what you did for them, by a smile, by a hello, by carrying their groceries, something heavy, helping them with something heavy, just sitting with people who are having a difficult time. You may very well be one of those people who was going through a difficult time, and you know that because somebody just simply sat with you, the small gesture of sitting with you, that because of that, it had an effect on you, that you were able to help other people down the road. And you know that if they hadn't have done that and you had been left alone, maybe your future actions or words would have been different, and maybe wouldn't have been as positive or inspiring or uplifting or service-oriented. We always have the ability, the power, the opportunity, the blessing to impact people through the smallest of gestures and create incredible ripple effects by the simplest of gestures. That's number two. And number three is to believe in this. Believe in the ripple effect. So many times people say, once it gets out one or two, it's not my responsibility. I'll go back to Mother Teresa and I'll go back to Osama bin Laden. That is simply not true. Your ability to impact people is not just in your inner circle. When you impact those people, they take that impact out to the world. You cannot control that. Let me repeat that. You cannot control that impact. It will go as far as a ripple will go, and you have no control over it. You have to believe in your power. You have to believe in your ability. You have to believe that you can make those kind of impacts. So those are the three moves to make. Ask what could happen. What could be the possible ripple effect by my words and my actions? Journal it out. Get the stream of consciousness going. So you try to think of as many different possibilities as possible, and then pray on what the right words, right actions are to create the right ripple effect. Number two, Small gestures on an ongoing and regular basis will create huge, positive, inspiring, uplifting, and service-based ripple effects. And number 3, the strategy, the move, believe in all of this. Understand that you cannot control the ripple effects you create or narrow them or limit them to a small circle. They're going to go where they're going to go. Just like when you drop the pebble in, the water will go where it's going to go and you can't control it. You can't control the ripple effect. So if you do those 3 things and understand that you're a role model at all times, and understand that you have the ability to instantly change someone's mindset, which can then impact those first few ripples out from your words and actions, and that you can do that almost instantly in a great number of cases. And when you understand that you're going to leave a legacy, you're going to mold people as they leave their legacies, and that you're going to leave a legacy that is going to outdate you, that is going to go beyond your children, that is going to go beyond your family, that's going to go beyond your company, and you have no control over that either. That's just going to happen. When you realize those things and make those 3 moves, you're creating these incredible, uplifting, positive ripple effects that are inspiring people, that are lifting them up, that are serving them. And that is part of the So Good life. It's a huge part of the So Good life. So thank you so much for watching, as always, for listening, for reading. As I say every week, my sincerest desire, wish, prayer, hope is that this serves you, and let's impact people together. If you know that there's somebody who's just, their influence is going out and they're not believing in themselves, or they're not believing in this principle, and this will help them or serve them or get them to another level, share it with them. Let's impact people together. So thank you again so much. And until the next time, every single day, discover something new. Learn something. Every day, discover something new. Reach for your dreams. Go for it. Because anytime somebody says to you, hey, how's it going? How's your life? How's your family? How's your job? Whatever. You always want to be able to say, me, my stuff, it is so good.